to part 4. Congratulations. Today we're wrapping up the course that's been all about the benefits of olive oil with a really important topic. It's time to talk about how to make the most of this extraordinary kitchen ingredient by taking good care of it, storing it properly, and using it up while it's fresh. With olive oil, it's pretty simple. Just remember 4 important tips. Number 1, keep it away from heat. Number 2, keep it away from oxygen. Number 3, keep it away from light. And number 4, use it up while it's at a young age. If you do these 4 things, the quality and the flavor of your oil will last a lot longer. It'll stay fresher and it'll taste better. And it'll retain all those healthy antioxidant qualities it was born with. The simplest way to remember these tips is to think of the classic Spanish greeting I say at the start of every one of my videos from my kitchen. Hola! So, what should you do or not do? Before I get into specifics, I want to mention that if you can find extra virgin olive oil packaged in a bag-and-box container like this one, you have stumbled on the very best packaging for olive oil. I know that bag-and-box wine suffers a little bit from a less than quality reputation, but this packaging is perfect for olive oil because it eliminates any exposure to light and oxygen, and if you keep it in a kind of cool place, heat won't be a factor either. My best friend, Michelin chef Maria Jose San Ramon, sells her own custom blend in just this type of box. I call it the trifecta of olive oil preservation perfection. Okay, now let's talk about tip number 1. Keep it away from heat. Heat transforms all organic matter, one way or another, sometimes to its benefit, like that perfect sear on a steak or chicken, or that great grilled cheese sandwich with all those crispy edges. But heat is not a friend to olive oil. When storing olive oil, the cooler you can keep it, the longer its shelf life, and the higher its quality. Heat can have all kinds of negative effects on olive oil, from flavor to aroma changes to faster rancidity. And if you've ever come across a rotten peanut, you'll know exactly what rancidity smells and tastes like, and it is not pretty. If you're organized enough to have a spare 15 minutes in your prep time, then store extra virgin olive oil in the refrigerator and just take it out when you get ready to start to make a dish so that it warms up a bit before you use it. And please, please don't store it next to your stovetop. No matter how convenient that might be, prolonged excessive heat breaks down health qualities, the antioxidant qualities, much, much faster than keeping it in a cool environment. Another advantage to refrigerated storage is that it can be a really good indicator of oil authenticity too. Real olive oil will temporarily thicken to a pasty consistency, and if you don't see a change in the viscosity of your oil, what's in the bottle might not be the real thing. On to tip number 2. Keep it away from oxygen. Think about oxygen's effect on wine. As soon as you uncork a bottle, it starts to change. And that can be a great thing, letting wine air a bit before serving it. But it's quite the opposite for extra virgin olive oil. Oxygen, just like heat and light, adds to the breakdown of olive oil's healthiest quality. It speeds up the possibility of things turning rancid and reduces the aromas and flavors that make it such a great addition to your pantry. Way back when George and I produced olive oil in California, we went so far as to float a thin film of nitrogen over the storage barrels of the oil to keep them completely sealed off from oxygen until we were ready to bottle. Some high-end producers even introduced nitrogen into their bottling line process. I'm not suggesting you need to invest in a spray can of nitrogen like those used in the wine business. Even though it wouldn't be a bad idea, it would ensure the best protection for your oil. But another option is to use a manual vacuum like those used on wine bottles. The very best thing you can do, though, is keep it well sealed and use it up really fast. Let's move on to tip number 3, light. First, if you buy an olive oil already stored in a dark bottle, like this one, you'll be way ahead of the game. There are some producers who care more about marketing than quality, though. So they sell their spoils, in some cases, quite literally, in clear, fancy bottles that look all great on the shelf, trying to tempt you with this beautiful green gold liquid. They're not doing you any favors, because light reduces the quality and the shelf life of olive oil, and it breaks down chemicals that make it so healthy, including those all-important antioxidants and things like vitamin E. Another really important thing to know is that color doesn't have anything to do with quality. In fact, when professional tasters judge oil, they put it in a dark blue tasting glass like this one to eliminate the temptation of considering color as a part of quality. And there's been plenty of press about counterfeit olive oils that even add green dye to disguise the low quality nut oil they're using when they try to get away with fraud. So don't let your eyes fool you. It's not better just because it's greener. Second, if you found a favorite oil and they sell it in a clear glass or PET plastic bottle, that's not a deal breaker. Just keep it in a cool, dark cupboard or even in the refrigerator to stretch out its wonderfulness. We're almost at the end of the course, which brings me to the final piece of advice about caring for your oil. Finally, tip number 4, younger is better. It's all about buying it fresh and using it with abandon while it's fresh. In other words, this answers the question, how long should you keep a bottle of olive oil? Well, quite frankly, buy a size that you can be sure to use up at least within 1 year, and only buy bottles or boxes or tins that are freshly produced in that same year. Most high-quality producers will always note the harvest date on the label. In some countries, it's even the law. This date tells you when the olives were harvested and produced. In the US, it spans 2 years because the harvest season runs from October to January. But in the Southern Hemisphere, like Australia and Chilean oils, it will most likely be a single year date from March to July. Shelf life can extend to 2 years, especially if it's early harvest, really spicy, and very herbal. But if it takes you more than a year to use a bottle of olive oil, it can only mean you haven't had the chance to discover all the wonderful ways to cook with it. And so if that's the case, check out my other videos to see how I use it to eat the Mediterranean way every day. And if you're interested in learning what olive oil varieties taste best to you, jump back to part 3 of the course where we do a tasting and a pairing so that you can really get a chance to experience it all yourself. So go for it, have fun with it. Mostly, I hope you get the chance to start enjoying extra virgin olive oil at every meal, every day, and eating more of the Mediterranean way. Buen provecho!